Hey guys, it's Anthony with RHG. Doing something that I don't normally do, at least for our channel that is, and that's just kind of going over some swap maintenance type deal on like a daily driver. Normally we do revivals and stuff like that. So I have a daily driver here. You can see it's a 2002 Ford Focus ZX3. It's a decent little car, got it for cheap. Needed some transmission work, the clutch was bad. And while we were looking at that, we figured out that the cables were also bad for the shifter, and the shifter itself, the plastic piece that goes on to the bottom that mounts it to the floor of the car, that was actually cracked in half, and it ended up snapping in half as well. They're known in the 2000 to like I think it's April or May of 2002 to have bad shifters. After that, in the mid-year of 2002, they changed the shifter styles. Okay, now these cars come with 3 different engines and 2 different transmissions. Mine has the 16 valve 2-liter Z-Tech, and they also come with a 2-liter split port as well, and also I think it's a 2.4 liter. Those aren't very common, at least in my experiences. So what you gotta watch out for is the transmission differences. These ones, the Z-Techs 2 liters, they have an MT-75 transmission, where the split port 2 liters have an IB5 transmission. If you want to do the swap to get the new style shifter in the 2002 and a half and ups, you got to get a shift tower, which is the entire assembly that goes on the top of the transmission for your gear selector. Okay, that one's off of there, and this is what it looks like. This is a 2002 and a half and under. Okay, you see it's got the 2 right on the side here for the shift cables. All right, you need to get one from a MT-75 that's 2002 and a half and up. This here is similar, but it's out of a split port. You can see the difference where the cables mount. Okay, the base plate though is the same. They're absolutely identical through even the IB5s and the MT-75s. However, you see that even the upgraded, this is the updated 2002 and a half and up model MT-75. You see that even this is different than the IB5. IB5, MT-75. Okay, that's how it mounts. So what you'll need is the shift tower assembly out of the 02 and a half and up MT-75 car, the cable brackets that mount onto the transmission that attach to the tower. Here's the difference on those. This is the new one that you'll need, and this is the old one. As you can tell, they are completely different. So you'll need the bracket as well. You'll need the shifter assembly, the actual shifter and the base plate from the center console of the car, and then obviously the cables. Okay, super easy to get. It's a couple bolts here and there. Pop them off, feed the cables through. It's not a hard job. Okay, I literally did everything here. I don't have a shop. I'm working in my brother's garage right now. Actually, not even in the garage. I'm outside. And all it is, you just need a couple simple sockets: 10, a 13, a 15, an 18, and a 21, and a screwdriver, and you can get all this out yourself. First off, you take out the air cleaner. Okay, it's a 8mm hose clamp that goes on your air cleaner here. All right, comes over, unplug your mass airflow. You pop the whole entire assembly off. Okay, it just pops right off. All right, and make sure you unplug that extra hose there too for the breather. Then you take out the battery tray, which is 3 13mm bolts, as long as it hasn't been messed with. So I've seen 10mm in them as well. And then you take out the trans mount. The trans mount, you see this one's busted. It broke off when I took off the mount for the transmission when I did the clutch. But these are 15 mils. And then there's a center one that's a 21 mil that goes in the middle that holds on the mount. And this right here is the mount. This will come off, and then you have 2 more 10 mil bolts that holds this mount in on top. After you get that off, it's 5 10mm bolts that go onto that. And then if you got the newer style, there's little push ones. You just push the cables in and you pop them off, the studs for the shift cables, and then you're good to go. The other style, obviously, if you're not using them, just pop them off with a screwdriver, big screwdriver or something. Pop them off. You're not going to need them. You can throw them away. if you're going to do the swap to get to this newer style. And then, you know, everything should just sit right back into place. Make sure you clean this all up and clean up your new shift tower, put some RTV on there, and then you just reassemble it, and then it should work. I can show you guys the difference in the shifters as well. So on the inside of the car, this is what it looks like now. It's a new style shifter. The other one obviously was busted, so this is the new one. It has 2 cables that go in the front, and it shifts backwards actually compared to the original one in the 2002 and a half and unders. So it's a completely different shifting setup. So you need all those components to make this work. And I did find the old shifter. Actually didn't throw it away. This is the old style shifter. As you can tell, it's completely different how it shifts. It pulls back on the cable, where the new one pushes forward typically. So your first, third, and fifth gear would be reversed, just because of the way that the shifter works. As you can tell, this is where they crack at. So it's snapped off the entire mounting base from here forward on the shifter. So I haven't seen a whole lot of videos on how to do that in these Focuses. This will work anywhere from the 02, I think, all the way up until 2007, I think. Hopefully this helps you guys out. You get a part list. I have a part number too off of the shift tower that you're going to need to swap 2000 to 2002 and a half and under into from a newer body style. So you guys can go ahead and go out there and look. You can get them in the junkyard. I actually had a car that this all came off of. I went and got an IB5 one out of a junkyard on accident, found out it was wrong. You know, trial and error. Unfortunately, there was nothing on the internet that did anything like this. Yeah, there's also another hack that you could do too, or trick I should say, with these shifters in these cars, is you get an SVT plate, shifter plate, which is metal on the bottom, from a SVT Focus or a Contour, and you get the newer style shifter on there, and you can put it on the bottom so the plastic don't crack. Yeah, and also you'll need to make sure you get one of the mounting bolts for the trans mount as well. What I mean by this, if you have studs like the original one in the 02 and a half and below, you need to make sure you remove this back stud here and use a bolt instead. So make sure you get the bolt off of the car for the transmission mount here that you're taking all this other stuff off of if you're going that route. If not, just kind of match up the threads from the stud and then go get a bolt that matches and lengthwise that matches. Another tidbit too, and something that you might need to do as well on the swap, is to make sure that the clutch line, this little guy right here, is out of the way of the shift tower and all the other moving components of it. So that weight will hit it. So I had to just hand bend it out of the way. All it is brake line, really. That's how soft it is. So you can just do a nice simple bend on that to get it out of the way. Otherwise, it won't go in reverse. It hits it. So it was like way over here. I just bent it over on like almost a 45, and yeah, you can see it did pretty good. And now it should go into all gears. Test that before you go ahead and just throw it together and act like everything's gonna be fine. So make sure you test everything. But otherwise than that, the swap works. So good luck. Hopefully you guys can go ahead and do this now, and yeah, you won't be like me and have your car down for 2 months because you got a busted shift tower that you can't find nowhere. Good luck.